I just found out that my girlfriend has a very strange fetish, and I don't know what to do next. My girlfriend has always been a fairly blunt person. She's sex positive and speaks her mind about whatever topic, regardless of if other people might find it embarrassing to talk about. She doesn't hide her phone from me, but I also have never wanted to go through her phone, and I'm the same with her. Recently though, I was setting up YouTube on our new smart TV, and she logged into her account so we could get videos recommended easily. And that's when I saw it. I had gone into the search bar and seen recommended searches of sneezing videos. They had descriptors in there that popped up in all of them, like rapid and fits. Now, my girlfriend had made jokes before about getting her porn from YouTube, and I never really pried, because I assumed it was just a one-off joke, or something about something obscure. She was obviously embarrassed and asked for the remote back, where she turned the TV off. She wasn't frantic or anything, but it was clear to me that she didn't want me to see that. She explained to me that she has a fetish for sneezing. Not herself, but watching others do it. Men or women, she doesn't care, but she's bisexual to begin with. She told me that she's been this way since she was a little kid watching cartoons and not understanding why she was so interested in the episodes where characters would get sick. I just told her that I accept her interests and that I wouldn't have been grossed out if she had told me earlier. She told me that someone had dumped her before over this, and she was looking for a good time to tell me. I assured her that I would never do that, and that was the conversation. It's been a few days now, and I don't really know how to continue with the information that I have. I'm not considering dumping her at all, but I just feel like it's a bit awkward. We've been dating for 4 years, and she's never told me this before. Plus, am I supposed to act on this at all, or would that be creepy? I'm honestly kinda scared that I'd do something wrong somehow, if I tried to act on it. She had mentioned that there is forums and all sorts of stuff just for sneeze fetishists, so maybe I'm ridiculous, but it almost feels like there's a community for it, and I would be intruding. Maybe I should just swallow my pride and ask her what I should do. Do any of you have experience finding out that your partner was into something that you weren't? Especially if it was something so out of left field. Did you do anything with that information, or did you think that it was best to leave it be? Thank you for any advice you can give. In the comments, this is probably the most benign kink I've ever heard of. Delivering on a partner's kink can be very rewarding, and it doesn't sound like this would be harmful at all. Dig in and enjoy what it does for her. How would you deliver on this kink, though? I wonder if she's just as turned on by fake sneezes as real sneezes, or is it like how those overly exaggerated moaning kills the mood over a genuine moan? Comments by OP. I totally get why she wouldn't share. It just doesn't make it less awkward on my part. But I totally don't judge her for it at all. Honestly, this post is probably entirely just me being in my own head too. I hope you found or will find someone who accepts all of you as well. She told me it's like something in her brain is just wired differently, like how some people like feet and stuff. I don't know enough about the subject to really say, but I do believe her when she says that it's a biological thing. She told me that her ex who left her over this was assuming that she got off on spectating total strangers, or God forbid, children being ill in public. But she's told me that's not the case. Sounds like we're in the same boat of partners with harmful but obscure kinks. It's something I totally want to be open-minded about, and I think I am, given that I'm not grossed out or anything. I think I'll try to indulge her with it sometime soon and see how it goes. You know what? Whatever floats your goat, OP. If that's something you want to indulge in, if you feel like that'll enrich the relationship, let 1,000 blossoms bloom for all I care. I did not know that a sneezing fetish existed until this point, and what a terrible day to have eyes, I think. Not to shame fetishes at all, but just saying, what a terrible day to be able to perceive reality. I've been exposed to a lot of interesting topics across this journey of Reddit that I didn't think I ever would be exposed to, and you guys get to be willful participants of that with me as well. I'm glad that people are able to bond over shared kinks like this one, and not gonna say never let that happiness find me, but if it ever does find me, I'll definitely have some questions. In the unlikely scenario that it does, I'm sure it will be a journey. I'm keen to see what the update is here. And now, onto the update. Sorry if this is too much information or whatever, but you guys don't know me, and we will never meet, so update below. Yep, you're right about that. So yesterday, I took the majority of the comments' advice, and I was just straight up with her. As chill as I could be, I asked her if she wanted to explore her kink with me. No pressure if not. She said yes, and added that she didn't expect me to be super into it, and she expected me to be awkward, but if it was too much, then we could stop. She busted out basically a tiny toolbox full of little things that she had collected specifically for this kink. I didn't go through it myself, or look too hard at what the box had, but she had a little thing of sneezing powder. She had told me that she'd gotten all of that stuff when she was trying to figure out if she was into sneezing herself, so it's mostly gone unused since she realized that wasn't the case. Omitting all the details of what followed, the night went well. She's right that I wasn't super into it myself, but it felt good to do those things with her, so I didn't mind it. I definitely feel like this is going to be an every now and again type of thing, just to indulge her. Thank you to all of the encouraging comments, sharing their opinions, and even experiences of having partners with uncommon fetishes, or having those fetishes themselves. You guys helped me get over myself, though I also blame you guys for the mild soreness in my face. In the comments, the loading joker says, "Can I ask how she discovered this kink?" And OP replies, "I asked, and she said that she's always been more interested in sneezing cartoon characters than her friends as a kid, and that she put the pieces together that it was sexual when she saw a giantess sneezing animation." Oh, interesting. I like giantesses for different reasons, like the ones in Futurama. Froggy McNasty says, "I need to find a woman like her. My allergy sneezing has always been a massive turnoff, and I have year-round allergies. Seriously, when I need to blow my nose, it sounds like I'm trying to summon a demon or speak some Lovecraftian language. You ever see the turtle in the Never-Ending Story? It's like that." Stan Jolly says, "I don't have allergies, but every now and then, maybe once a month, I have sneezing fits and will just sneeze over and over for about 20 minutes. I didn't realize there was a market for that." Right? If I'd known, I would have tried to market this years ago. I wonder if people prefer volume or length. Someone get a cat. I need to practice. OP replies, "My girlfriend says there's like genres to it. She likes fast sneezing fits. Other people like loud dad sneezes. Lol. Regardless, she said she's always looking for new stuff on YouTube." And there you go, guys. I'm glad I could explore this topic with you today. If you ever need advice on your next side hustle, don't worry about selling pictures of your feet online. Just start sneezing on YouTube videos and then start getting into ultra-specific niches with that, you know? Make yourself into a giantess, let one loose on the camera. You'll get paid for it. Who needs ASMR like this channel when you've got a big honker on your schnozzle or something like that? Anyway, thank you for the story, OP. That was lovely. I'm sure your love will only blossom from here. Good luck. Our next post is by user Super Donut, and it's titled, "Am I the asshole here for not letting my roommate's boyfriend shower at our place anymore?" So I, 21 female, live in a 2-bedroom flat with my roommate, 22 female. We've lived together for a little over a year, and mostly things have been fine. We split rent and bills evenly, and we are friendly, though not super close. We respect each other's spaces, and it's been good up until recently. About 6 months ago, she started dating this guy, 24 male. He was around once or twice a week at first, but now he's here constantly. Literally sleeps over 5 to 6 nights a week, sometimes full weeks in a row. He's not on the lease, doesn't pay rent, doesn't bring shopping, doesn't help with anything at all. Nothing. Another hobosexual. I've never said much because I get it. It's her boyfriend, and I didn't want to start drama. But what's been bothering me lately is the shower thing. He showers all of the time, like twice a day minimum, sometimes more. What if he has a shower fetish, OP? Let's not shame him for that. and every single time he uses my stuff. My shampoo, conditioner, face wash, razor, and deodorant. Yes, I noticed. Send him to hell. I'm so serious. Using your razor is crazy. I didn't even say anything the first few times because I thought maybe she let him borrow something once. But this is just ongoing now. I moved all my things into my room and carry them back and forth like I'm at a camp or something. I brought it up to my roommate a while ago and she just went, well, he probably didn't realize, and didn't do anything about it. Last week, I finally said something more direct and told her that I wasn't comfortable with him showering here constantly, especially since he doesn't live here, doesn't contribute anything, and uses my stuff. I told her that I'd feel different if he at least brought his own stuff or chipped in somehow. She got super annoyed and says he doesn't have any money right now, so it's not like he can buy his own things, and that I was being cold and controlling. She told me that I was overreacting and that it's just hygiene. I snapped and said it's not about hygiene, it's about boundaries and respect. For what it's worth, I wouldn't have even minded grabbing him some basics if she just asked, but she didn't, and neither did he. They just assumed I'd be fine with it, and honestly, I don't even really like him. He's not awful, he's just kinda moochy and not self-aware at all. So maybe I'm being harsh because I already find him annoying. Now my roommate's barely speaking to me and told one of our mutual friends that I'm being weirdly territorial and passive-aggressive over a guy just taking a quick shower. I don't know. Part of me feels bad because he's broke, and maybe I am being too harsh. But I also feel like I'm being walked over in my own home. I just need unbiased advice. So am I the asshole here? Throwaway account for anonymity. My normal Reddit account has my name. In the comments, Lizzie Deathstar says, absolutely not the asshole. That's gross and disrespectful. Your shampoo and conditioner once would be one thing, but your razor? Your deodorant? Hell no. He doesn't live there, doesn't contribute. I would bet it's on your lease that it's limited to you two staying there. If your roomie is unwilling to take steps to ensure your boundaries are respected, I would contact the landlord, but do your best to deal with it with your roommate first. OP says, thank you. I'm going to try and talk to her properly when she gets home, but if she brushes it off again, I think I'll go to my landlord. Adnip says, not the asshole. You are absolutely not responsible for him being broke. That isn't your fault and not your problem. Don't make it your issue to deal with. If your roommate wants her boyfriend to stay over and shower there, you have to be treated respectfully about that. He wants hygiene products? Use hers, or she can buy him some. He's using yours without permission? That's theft. She needs to set this whole situation straight. If she won't do that, then let her be mad when you complain to the landlord. Please don't let yourself be walked all over on this. You've dealt with it for 6 months? Point out how nice you've been, because that's so true, and say the party is over one way or the other. Respect yourself. And OP replies, thank you so much. I really appreciate this comment. You're right. I've been more than patient, and I just want to feel respected in my own space. I'm going to try and talk to her properly when she's home, and I'll update after. Fingers crossed it goes okay. The problem is, to be respected, you have to be firm. You were being too nice. You needed to nip it in the bud the first time he did it. Otherwise, you have the issue you have now, but don't back down now. And you've learned if it happens with another roommate, stop it when it first happens. Yeah, absolutely, don't let these problems fester, because it's just not worth it. He's been stealing from OP for 6 months. Why would you let it go on for that long? I get being non-confrontational and whatnot, but 6 months is so much, maybe a week at most, where you're like, okay, I'll ignore it, he'll realize he's being socially unacceptable, and if it keeps going, then I'll do something about it, but oh my god, you have too much patience, OP. I think you're the asshole to yourself for letting him do this to you without doing anything about it and setting proper boundaries, but as the situation stands, with your question, am I the asshole here for not letting my roommate's boyfriend shower at our place anymore? No. You're not, and you could not be the asshole for that. That's called setting boundaries that are way overdue. I hope he wises up sooner rather than later because, my god, I'd be pissed. Using my deodorant and using my razors, I would burn them, and then I'd burn him. And now, on to the update. So I ended up having another conversation with my roommate after she got home, mostly because I couldn't keep walking around like everything's fine when it's really not, and the comments I read from my previous post helped me to come to that conclusion. I told her as calmly as I could that this situation is seriously getting to me. I get that she's in love, but I'm not just some side character in her life who has to deal with the boyfriend constantly being in our home. I told her flat out that it's been months now of him basically living here, eating, showering, lounging around, sleeping over 5 to 6 nights a week, and it's crossing the line. She's just kind of blinked at me and said I was being heartless. Literally said those exact words, saying I had no compassion for her relationship or for him, or the fact that he barely had any money and needed somewhere to stay most days and needed food, etc. She accused me of being dramatic and of caring more about shampoo than a person who means the world to her. And I just snapped. I told her this is not about shampoo, it's about the fact that her boyfriend, who doesn't pay rent, doesn't contribute to bills, and isn't even on the lease, has been using all of my personal stuff for months without asking. Like, literally, never asked. Not once. Neither did she. He just started helping himself to my shampoo, my conditioner, my razor, my face wash, and my deodorant like I'm running a free hotel and he's a guest. And the worst part is, he barely even talks to me. This man's been living in my space for months, and I swear we've had maybe 2 conversations ever. Half the time he doesn't even say hi when he walks in the door, and just walks straight past me like I'm invisible, and hops in the shower with my products like it's no big deal. I can't believe I've put up with it for this long. I told her if either of them had just asked even once, I probably would have been chill about it. Like, yeah, he's broke, I get it, because times are hard. I would have even offered to grab him a few basics if he was short on cash, but no one said anything. They just silently decided that it was okay for him to mooch off of me and my stuff, and my space, without so much as a conversation, like I don't get a say in any of this. She got super defensive, like arms crossed in full-on attitude, and said something like, well, he's my boyfriend, and I'm allowed to have him over, it's my home too. And I said, yeah, you are allowed to have him over, but let's not pretend like he's just here sometimes. He's always here. He's been here more nights than not for the past few months, and when he's not sleeping over, he's still around. He's basically moved in without actually moving in, and if he's gonna act like he lives here, then he needs to contribute like he lives here. She just rolled her eyes and said, and I quote, "Get used to it. He's my boyfriend, and as I said before, he has barely any money, so wouldn't be able to contribute anything." And that was it for me. I've been so patient, I've tried to be understanding, I've given them the benefit of the doubt over and over again, but at this point, I feel completely disrespected and walked over in my own home. I realize I'm not overreacting. I'm reacting to months of not being heard and being treated like I don't matter. I'm calling our landlord tomorrow morning. I'm going to explain that this guy has effectively moved in. He's been staying here for weeks on end, using the amenities, taking up space, and not paying a single damn penny towards rent or bills. And if he's going to keep staying here, he needs to start paying his share. I didn't want it to come to this, but I'm not going to keep carrying the weight of a third person in this flat just because my roommate's in a relationship. She's made it clear that she's not going to do anything about it, so now I have to. Thank you for your responses on the previous post. It really helped me come to terms with the situation. Update 2. Thank you guys for all of your help and comments on my prior posts. And yes, if you can tell, I've taken on board the advice about paragraphs and capitalization, lol. I'm sorry, I'm so used to typing with no capitals, and totally just forgot about paragraphs in the stress of me typing it all out. I appreciate everyone who took the time to comment on my last post. It honestly helped me feel so much less crazy about all of this. So, like I said I would, this morning I spoke to my landlord. I was so anxious before calling because I didn't want it to feel like I was tattling or trying to blow things up, but I also knew that I couldn't ignore it any longer. He picked up quickly and was actually really calm and professional about everything. I explained the situation as clearly and as fairly as I could and told him that my roommate's boyfriend has been staying over 5 to 6 nights a week, sometimes more, using all of our utilities, taking over our shared space, and even using my personal things like it's all free, despite not paying a single penny towards rent or bills, or even any shopping. The landlord paused for a moment and then told me that it wasn't okay. He told me that technically under the lease, guests are allowed for short stays, like the occasional overnight or weekend, but then said that it's very different from someone else effectively living in the flat, and that if someone is staying over more than a couple of nights a week on a consistent basis, that counts as an unofficial tenant. He said that if my roommate wants him there full-time, he needs to be added to the lease and start contributing to rent and bills immediately. Otherwise, he said her boyfriend will have to seriously cut back on how often he's staying over, and if my roommate refuses to cooperate or tries to keep things as they are, it could result in her being in breach of the lease agreement. He said she could face consequences, including possible eviction if this continues without resolution. That honestly shook me a little, but also validated that I'm not overreacting. Now on to the more awkward part. A few hours ago at around 5 p.m., her boyfriend showed up again. As he came in and went to walk past me like usual, I stopped him and said that I needed to talk to him. He looked caught off guard and kinda gave me that fake confused "about what" expression. But I stood firm and said that I just needed to clear the air. I told him I'd noticed that he'd been staying here constantly and using all of my stuff, such as my shampoo, my face wash, my razor, and yes, I got a new razor the same day that I noticed he was using mine, deodorant, all of it without ever asking. I said I was really uncomfortable with it, especially since he's not on the lease or contributing anything. And that's when he got defensive. He didn't yell or anything, but his tone immediately turned snappy and kind of guilt-trippy. He said something like that he was sorry he didn't have somewhere else to go right now and that he was in a deep place. He then said that he wasn't trying to make my life hard and that he was just trying to survive. Then he launched into this whole monologue about how he's unemployed, struggling with his mental health, that his family all cut him off, he can barely afford food, let alone shampoo, and just how my attitude is another example of people turning their backs on someone who's already at rock bottom. He even asked if I think he wants to be in this position, or if I think he feels good about the way that he lives, like I was supposed to feel guilty for bringing it up. I stayed calm, and I told him that I wasn't trying to kick him whilst he's down, and that if he'd just asked me, I probably would have said yes, and I might have even bought him some basics, but he didn't ask, and he just started helping himself like it was owed to him. He didn't really have a response to that, other than just shrugging and muttering that he didn't think that it was a big deal, and that my roommate told him that it was fine. I said it is a big deal to me. This is my home too, and he's been treating it like a free house that he's allowed to live in, and that's not sustainable anymore. I told him that my landlord's going to get involved now, and things will have to change. Either he gets added to the lease and starts paying his share, or he stops staying over all the time. And if neither, my roommate could end up being evicted. He got quiet after that, gave me some annoyed half-apology, and went into her room. Honestly, I think he was more embarrassed than anything, but I'm not backing down now because I've done my part and I've been patient. I've communicated like an adult, so what happens next is on them. No word yet from my roommate after her conversation with the landlord, which I assume happened as my landlord doesn't usually say stuff and not follow through with it, and she still hasn't come back home, which leads me to the belief that she is furious. That said, I'm done prioritizing her comfort over my own peace of mind, as I have been more than fair. I will update again if and when my roommate says anything to me. Also, I've officially locked my shower stuff away, and the snacks that I'd previously bought were my snacks that I bought with my own money. I went to Argos this morning and got one of those little lockbox storage boxes and slid it under my bed as some of you suggested. I made a very unique 4-digit code for it too, so hopefully my roommate's boyfriend doesn't go to the extreme of trying to open and snoop through a locked box. Update 3. Thank you for all of your comments and positivity on my previous posts. I'm hoping this will all blow over soon, as confrontation is not my thing in general, and this is a situation I don't really want to be in, as I don't want to be the reason someone who's already struggling ends up on the streets. And before I get into the latest update, I did see a comment asking why I didn't just ask her why he doesn't use her stuff, and the answer is because he already does. He uses both of our stuff whenever he feels like it, but for some reason, it's mostly mine he grabs. Anyways, my roommate came home about an hour ago, just before 12 p.m., and it was obvious from the second she walked through the door that she was furious. She slammed the front door shut, slammed her keys a little too hard onto the side table, and threw her bag down. I was in the living room at the time, and the energy shift was instant. I waited a moment and then came out from the living room, said hello, and asked as gently as I could if everything was okay. She didn't answer right away and just stood there with her jaw clenched before blurting out that she couldn't believe that I actually called our landlord and then asked me why I was being so dramatic. I stayed calm and said that I already told her that I was going to if nothing changed and that I didn't go behind her back. She gave this bitter laugh and said something along the lines of, "Yeah, well, now thanks to that, our landlord told me in no uncertain terms that my boyfriend is not allowed to stay more than 2 nights a week anymore unless he starts paying rent." She was absolutely livid. She asked me if I even understood what that meant, and then said he literally has nowhere else to go right now, and he's been staying here because he doesn't have a home, not because they were trying to take advantage of me or something. She kept telling me that he was struggling and would have no money to pay rent or bills, and now what, is he supposed to just wander around in the cold at night and freeze to death while you, and I quote, sleep soundly knowing that your shampoo is safe and sound? Yes he is. Death to the hobosexual, I say. That last line was so sarcastic, it would have been funny if it wasn't so frustrating and guilt-tripping. I took a deep breath and said that it was not about the shampoo, it was about how he's been here constantly, like literally living here without ever being asked to contribute anything, and literally had barely even acknowledged me ever. I mentioned that I tried to talk to her about it twice, and she blew it off both times. What else was I supposed to do? She crossed her arms and looked at me like I was the most cold-hearted person alive. She told me he was her boyfriend, and of course she would want him here. That he's going through so much, and now I've made it so he feels completely unwelcome. She told me his family just cut him off one day with no reason, and all of his friends stopped talking to him too, and apparently treated him awfully. Which in my opinion seems ironic, but maybe that's just me. Sounds like he has BPD. Sounds like he's a big fat liar. Apparently, he called her after I confronted him earlier and told her that he's going to stay at a friend's place tonight, and he sounded like he was about to cry before he hung up the phone. Then said that this was just another example of people not giving a fuck about him when he needs it most. I literally didn't even hear him leave, so he must have crept out. I could feel the guilt tripping in every word. But honestly, I've reached the point where I'm done letting it work on me. I said that I was sorry he's going through a rough time, but this is my home too. I pay rent, I pay bills, I keep this place going just like she does. I'm not an extra in her relationship. She brought someone into this space without asking. She let him treat it like it's his and didn't lift a finger when it started affecting me. That's not okay. She went quiet at that, still clearly annoyed but with nothing left to say that wouldn't sound like more of the same. After a few seconds, she just said, "I hope you're happy," and walked off into her room, slamming the door behind her. I'm not happy. I didn't want it to come to this, but I'm also not sorry. I've been way more patient than I should have been, and I've tried to handle this like an adult. I don't think her boyfriend feeling unwelcome is because I'm cruel, it's because they both acted like the rules don't apply to them, and that's not my fault. So I guess this is where things stand for now. Tense, awkward, and probably about to get worse before they get better, but I feel like I can see the horizon of no more stolen shampoo, and hopefully this will all be over soon. Thank you for all of your comments. They mean a lot to me. And now onto update 4. Hi again, everyone. I just wanted to say thank you again for the incredible support, advice, and unbiased opinions that you've given me throughout this whole mess of a time. I've read every single comment on my last few posts, and it's been genuinely eye-opening in a beautiful way to realize how many people have been able to offer advice when my head was spinning. So it's been tense but quiet since my last post. My roommate has barely spoken to me, and things have mostly been awkward silence or heavy sighs. I've kept my boundaries up and stayed polite, but we both clearly needed space. Yesterday, my roommate and her boyfriend, yes, he was over to collect something of his, had a huge argument. I wasn't eavesdropping, but it was loud enough that I couldn't not hear it as our walls are very thin and they were yelling. He was accusing her of being a bad girlfriend for not sticking up for him when I talked to our landlord, or sticking up for him when I raised an issue. Which she did, lol. He actually said that she let me humiliate him, and that she didn't even defend him, and said that I had made him look pathetic. He went full guilt trip, saying that she had betrayed him, and that real partners are supposed to protect each other. He said he felt humiliated, abandoned, and that she clearly didn't care about him at all. It was like watching someone weaponize hurt feelings just to control his narrative. She was crying and trying to explain, but he kept cutting her off, and then suddenly, boom! He slammed the door and stormed out. She followed shortly after. I thought that was probably the end of the drama for the night. I genuinely felt bad for her in that moment, but then at like 2 a.m. this morning, she came stumbling in tipsy and immediately started shouting at me. She slurred something about me just being jealous and mad because I don't have a boyfriend. I literally couldn't be further from being jealous of her and her boyfriend, as he seems to be so cruel and guilt-tripping towards her. And then she said it's because I can't stand seeing her happy, so I ruin it for her. And then she called me bitter, pathetic, and said that I was sabotaging her relationship because I'm lonely. I didn't even say anything, and I just sat there stunned. She then stomped off to her room and passed out cold. To be a fly on the wall for that one. Oh my god. This morning, I woke up to find her sitting at the kitchen table looking rough. She was hungover and clearly very low. She mumbled something about how she doesn't know what to think anymore and said she thinks that her boyfriend is only with her for money. You think? Maybe. I was genuinely trying to be kind, as I felt bad for her, and it must be a tough situation to be in. I told her that I was sorry she felt like that, and that she deserves better if that's how she's feeling. I thought that we were having a real moment, but then she looked me dead in the eye and said, literally, and I quote, "This is your fault." Oh my god. She's so delusional. I hate her. My jaw dropped. I literally said, "Excuse me?" And she repeated it. She said if I hadn't blown everything out of proportion and gone to our landlord, none of this would have happened, and her boyfriend wouldn't be angry with her. And then said I ruined everything. And in that moment, I realized this wasn't fair. I've been nothing but fair, and I've tried so hard to set boundaries respectfully, communicate like an adult, and not cause drama. I've gone out of my way to make this place livable and still got blamed for everything. And now I'm being guilt-tripped because her boyfriend treats the flat like a free hotel and she's too far gone to see it. Which brings me to the next part of this post. Our lease is up for renewal on August 1st. Our landlord emailed us both yesterday with a standard renewal reminder and asked us to let him know by July 1st if we're planning to stay, so he has time to prep the paperwork or start listing the flats. I've thought long and hard about this, and I've come to the conclusion that I don't want to live with her anymore. Even if her boyfriend disappears tomorrow, the trust and respect is gone, and the ability to feel comfortable in my own home is hanging by a thread. I won't be renewing my half. Whether I find a new place alone or with someone else, I am not staying here. I haven't told her yet because I'm not in the mood to get screamed at again, but I'll be giving proper notice soon and reaching out to our landlord to clarify the process. I'll do it properly and respectfully, but I know that I will no longer live here. I've mentally committed, and this weekend I'm going to start the flat/house share search. I'm equal part nervous and excited. Nervous because I'm in a very good location right now, and the rent isn't cheap, but it is reasonable for what it is. I know I might not get quite as lucky again, especially solo, but I'd rather pay a little more than keep sacrificing my sanity. I'm still sad that it came to this, because this flat could have been a dream, but I know that I'm making the right decision. I deserve a space that feels like mine, or at least one that I'm not constantly being pushed out of emotionally. So yeah, wish me luck. And if anyone knows of a spare room in a chill flat with non-toxic housemates and boundaries that are respected, feel free to manifest it into the universe for me. Thank you to everyone who's commented and supported me through this absolutely bonkers situation. You made me feel sane and reminded me that I deserve to feel safe, respected, and comfortable in my own home. And now onto Update 5. Hi everyone, if you've followed any of my previous posts, first of all thank you, you'll know that it's been a tense, chaotic, and honestly emotionally exhausting time dealing with my roommate and her boyfriend, essentially living rent-free in my flat, while I've slowly been pushed out of my own space and sanity. The messages and comments you've left me throughout have genuinely meant so much to me. A lot has happened in the last 2 weeks, and I wanted to update you properly. Things have continued to be awkward. Very, very painfully awkward. Since my last post, where my roommate drunkenly accused me of sabotaging her relationship and said everything was my fault, she's barely spoken a word to me. I think we've exchanged maybe 2 sentences since then, and they were both household things like, "Have you seen the post?" or "The boiler man is coming on Thursday." Her boyfriend has still been around, despite what was said. Not as much as before, because they're definitely trying to keep it under the radar now that the landlord is aware. She's clearly choosing to keep him in her life, and that's her decision, but I can't pretend that it doesn't suck to come home and feel that tension in the air every day. To be fair, he hasn't touched any of my stuff since the confrontation, probably out of shame or fear that I'll report him again, but the atmosphere hasn't improved. She still looks at me like I'm the villain in her love story, and I'm honestly just so tired of being cast in that role. Now, here is where things improve. After I gave notice to my landlord that I wouldn't be renewing the lease, he asked if I was planning on staying in the area, and I said yes. I've been hunting non-stop online. Spare room mostly, though it's a bloodbath, but nothing quite felt right. A few days after my last post, I was reading through the comments, which, again, thank you for. You Redditors are wiser than most real-life advice I've had, and a few people suggested that I ask the landlord if there were any other units available in the same building. I hadn't even thought of that, to be honest. I assumed everything around here was taken, but I figured I had nothing to lose by asking. So I emailed him just casually, saying that before I committed to moving out of the building entirely, I wanted to check if there were any other units becoming available at around the same time. He replied the next day, saying that one of the flats just upstairs, literally 1 floor above us, was going to be vacant from mid-July. Same layout, same rent, same everything, but slightly newer kitchen fittings and a nicer view. Less bin alley and more rooftops. He even offered me a first viewing since I was a current tenant and had always paid rent on time. I was honestly stunned. Same building, same landlord, same floor plan, and no drama roommates. Sign me up. I viewed the new unit last week. It's still a 2-bedroom, which works perfectly because my friend 23 female, who I've known since 6th form, and who's been looking to move out of her current house share, is looking to move around the same time. We had a little catch-up to talk about it, and realized our timelines lined up almost perfectly. She came to view it with me the second time around, and loved it. We signed the lease together this past Wednesday, and we officially get the keys on July 17th. Now here is the cherry on top. My current roommate isn't renewing her lease either. Apparently, after all the landlord stuff happened, she decided that she doesn't want to stay in the building anymore. I'm guessing she doesn't want to be under the same roof as me, or the landlord, who now knows about her boyfriend's extended stays. She mentioned in passing, very passive-aggressively, that she's moving somewhere with fewer rules. Whatever that means. Oh my god, they're gonna move into an alleyway together. How romantic. So as it stands, she's moving out, I'm moving into a new unit 1 floor up, and we will no longer be flatmates. I haven't told her where I'm moving yet. I didn't lie, but I also didn't feel like I owed her an explanation, you know? When she asked if I'd found anywhere yet, I just said that I've sorted it with the landlord and left it at that. If she finds out I'm literally upstairs, that would be slightly awkward. Just to paint a realistic picture for anyone reading who's UK-based or curious, here's how the process is going down. I formally gave my 30-day notice in writing to the landlord as soon as I decided not to renew. He accepted it and noted that my tenancy ends on July 31st. The landlord already knows me, obviously, and I've paid rent on time for over a year, so getting the new lease was smooth. No agency faff this time, which I'm so grateful for. It was just a standard credit check and ID confirmation. Because it's the same landlord and he uses a registered deposit scheme, he's allowing the deposit from this unit to be rolled over into the new flat, pending an inspection of this one. So if I leave this place in good condition, I won't have to cough up another full deposit, which is a lifesaver. We're getting the keys to the new flat on July 17th, even though this lease ends on the 31st. That gives me 2 full weeks of overlap to move gradually, clean, and avoid a stress meltdown. My dad even offered to drive up with his car to help with the heavier stuff. He's a hero for that. My friend's lease ends at around the same time, so we'll be moving in together over the same weekend. I've already sorted my council tax and utilities with the landlord. He'll notify the local council, and we just need to set up the new water, electric, and internet accounts from the 17th. We'll split it 50-50, just like I always hoped I could. Honestly, I feel so thankful, knowing that I won't have to be in a flat where I'm constantly tiptoeing around a very moody roommate, and her, as you say, hobosexual boyfriend is such a relief. I'm very excited to decorate a new space and set new boundaries from day one. Me and my friend already talked openly about how we want to divide shared costs. Groceries will be our own, cleaning rota, guests can stay but within reason, etc. And it feels normal. I could actually cry at the idea of normal. So now I'm prepping for the move, starting to box up non-essentials, deep cleaning little bits each day, and honestly enjoying the idea of creating a new space from scratch. I've started making Pinterest boards for our new living room and my bedroom. I'll probably do a little post-move update once we're in and settled. Thank you to every single person who read, commented, DM'd, or just rooted for me in the background. I owe you all a virtual hug. And I want to hug OP for providing such amazing content with this one. What a saga. What a journey. I'm throwing my hands up in the air right now, screaming at the sky. Cinema. That was cinema. Absolute cinema. I just love how delusional and sad the roommate was to come at her drunk like that and say, "This is your fault. This is all your fault. You caused this. None of this is my fault for enabling him. It can't be my trash heap little trash panda boyfriend. He's perfect. You leave him alone, my little manipulator. My little manipulative, narcissistic, mentally ill, hobosexual boyfriend. He's perfect. Let him keep using your razors and deodorants. He prefers yours over mine. He's got a weird kink for you. Oh yes, of course. Let me roll over and take it. Oh, powerful mystical roommate. You are normal and to be trusted. You are not a delusional weirdo at all. Absolutely not. I will trust you with the keys to this city, actually. Oh my god. I'm glad it's over. I don't think I need to wait for the next update. The roommate isn't involved anymore. I'm gonna say that this story is settled, alright? I'm happy, you're happy. That's where we're gonna end this one. Thank you for the story, OP. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.